All right. So, yes, this will be recorded. So,
Hi.
alrighty, we're just gonna get a start on this then. So, we are currently recording this, and for the people who couldn't make it, oh, we got another one. Yay! Alrighty, submit them as we go. Hello, thank you for joining. Alrighty, so for the people who aren't able to come, that is a-okay. So for the people who are here and the people who aren't here, maybe you're watching at home, today Shanti and I are going to be going over some social media and some tips for engagement. Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to offer a unique experience, especially in terms of engaging to the youth as well. We know it's the summer and things are changing with the school and everything, and it's a weird time right now. So is a-okay. We know that everyone's out and about, so we're just gonna get this started and hopefully we can offer something helpful for you guys. So here are the things we're gonna be covering today. Just sort of introducing why we're doing this, why is this important, and the various platforms we're gonna be covering today are Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. And at the end, if you guys have any questions, the floor is all yours. So if you have any questions, we'll get to those as well. And yeah, so to formally introduce ourselves, to start, my name is Jules. Hello. I'm one of the interns from SCGC for this summer. And part of that job of mine was to sort of help out, along with Shanti, manage the social media account. Other than that, I've also been in various roles of youth engagement and social media. So hopefully I'll be able to offer some level of expertise today. And, it was a whole learning experience, just learning from this internship and being able to manage SCGC's account. So I've learned quite a few things that hopefully I'll be able to share with you today. And Shanti, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so my name's Shanti. It's nice to see all of you here. Yeah, so just like Julie, I've had the opportunity to work with SCGC throughout the summer. I am a big social media fan, so I actually run a few Instagram accounts for other businesses. And so I love all things social media. It's something that I'm very familiar with. Margaret always calls me her social media girl. So I was really excited that we got to do this webinar, and I hope that I can share anything I know with you guys. And I hope that it's useful in the future if you guys want to become social media people as well. So we'll go on to the next slide.
Okay, so the first things we want to address is, why is this important? Why we're even doing this webinar? And so ultimately, as we probably all know, our sort of main selling point, I'm assuming, if I can make that assumption, is that we aren't really selling a particular product. It's not like we're selling, like a skincare cream or some kitchen tool. For us, what our goal is to reach people and educate and share a message and empower the community. And so that's why social media is such an important tool. It allows you to connect with the community, connect with other people, and ultimately, as it says here, reach more people and share your message. So there's three things that we kind of want to address here in terms of that. So one thing that's very important for that is brand management, and you attract what you are. So it's really important how you manage your social media account, how you want other people to see your brand. And I think one of the most important things in today's day and age is authenticity and genuinity. And just go on a little tangent here, just offering from a youth perspective. Unfortunately, there's sort of this negative connotation sometimes uh, associated with groups like ours, where, because of certain news and media that you hear, that it's hard for some people to feel like they can support certain organizations. And so I think that is why it's very important for organizations like us to show what we truly advocate about And in that way, those people who see that we are genuine and who are also really genuine and, really want to do something to help a cause, it's a really powerful thing when you make that kind of connection. So you attract what you are, and you want to attract the people who really care about your cause and such. So I think showing that authenticity is very important. And the second point is facts need a good storyteller. And this is actually something really interesting that I heard from someone in the business, someone who's very amazing, who's been in this kind of work for a long time. And he said facts need a good storyteller. So, as I said before, ultimately our job is to like educate and share our message and tell people about things, but we also need a good way to do that, because unfortunately we have the facts. It's really important that we are effective in sharing it so that it reaches the people. So we're going to go a little more over that later. And finally is target your chosen audience. So part of understanding social media is understanding what social platforms seem more tailored to what certain age groups. And in that sense, you can kind of strategically decide where you want to spend most of your time, what kind of things you want to upload to target certain age groups, and just be more effective in sharing your message. I don't know if Shanti wants to add any more to that. Also, really quickly, you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat and we can address them later, or you can just ask them in person. But yeah. Alrighty. So I'm going to take the floor here first. I get the pleasure of talking to you about Instagram today and sort of sharing my expertise with that. Instagram, I would say I'm going to speak a lot about on this particular one because I feel Instagram has a lot of diverse applications, and you're also targeting quite a wide demographic. So as you can see here, Gen Z and millennials, as if those are the terms that you're acquainted with, are really your main group on Instagram. So your dominant age group is 18 to 24 years. That's like the largest age group on Instagram, right? But it also, in general, it's important to know that Instagram has a wide demographic. You have people from like 14 years of age who are really young to even what older, like people of the older age demographic as well. So there's a lot of people that you're reaching on Instagram, which is why it's a social media platform that a lot of businesses and organizations tend to really focus on. So one important thing to know is Instagram, Reels are your best friend. Reels are the kind of content that do really, really well on Instagram. And especially for organizations like us, are a really great way to get our information out there quickly and effectively. Someone can just watch through a reel and then all the information is there, boom. So another unique thing about Instagram is that creativity is embraced on this platform. So you may have find that on Instagram, as opposed to other social media platforms, there's a lot of emphasis on the use of aesthetics and visually pleasing elements. Like everything looks nice, it looks pretty, and part of it is, once again, it's looks professional. So once again, it's like how you display your brand and how it looks like to the public. And it's unique in the sense that I would say it's the only social platform in which its constituents, like your individual posts, are also seen as an an item as its whole. So, but what I mean by that is if you were to visit any sort of organization's Instagram profile, all of their posts is there. You can see their entire feed in just one scroll. And so for that reason, a lot of organizations place a lot of emphasis on aesthetics and visual elements and sort of like a theme. So throughout a lot of posts, you see there's a consistency in the sort of fonts they use, the sort of formats they use, and it creates a sort of coherence, and it just sort of looks professional. But themes and such is, at the end of the day, it's up to you. Not everyone does that, and it's still just as effective. But if that's ever something that you won't be interested in, just on the top of my head, I know Eco Justice, their Instagram is very coherent, it's very beautiful. So that's one example that you may want to look at. That's something you want to look into. And also, it's never too late to sort of kind of reform and rebrand your organization. And in many cases, those rebranding kind of brings positive attention. So if that's something you want to look into, I wouldn't shy away from it. It's never too late to start anything. But yeah, once again, just aesthetics and visual elements, that is the main thing about Instagram. So from that point, I want to introduce you some really good resources that might help with that, which are Canva, Pixels, and Pixabay. So to start, the number one thing here would be Canva. So Canva is like the number one resource that I've heard of just a lot of organizations. It's just the best way and the easiest way to produce just sort of nice looking posts for your Instagram. And that's sort of the main thing that Canva is used for is social media. And it's very user friendly in the sense that there are a lot of themes and pre-made themes that are made for you, and you can quickly throw something together and post something on your Instagram. So if you haven't checked it out yet, Canva is like the thing that a lot of people use, and it's really easy. So I would definitely look into that. Now, another thing I want to talk about is something that I like to call edits. This is in quotes. Edits is, I like to consider it as like a media form that I see a lot of youth engage in, which is essentially video editing. And, you know, during my time with this internship, I sort of experimented and made some edits. And it seems that those things really do get a lot of engagement. And I'm going to show some more examples later because, you know, what does this all mean without examples, right? So edits are, to put it in the simplest definition, is making use of a bunch of visual and media elements, video clips, music, and all that such, and creating this sort of short form piece for people to look at in the form of a reel. So I will once again share that later. Pixels and Pixabay are some two resources that I tend to use to make those reels. Pixels, really quickly, is a resource where you can get really good stock images and stock footage. They're very quality and they're really useful in making things like reels. And then Pixabay has stock footage, stock images, but also sound effects and music. That's where I like to get my music as well. And the reason why I like these resources is because in terms of licensing and such, you don't have to worry too much, and it's quite simple, and there's a lot of commercial use. In terms of licensing, you're allowed to use it commercially. And I know the SCGC, there's a resource on how to get good images, and they have those sort of in more detail that will kind of explain the licensing and stuff. So I assume that they plan to distribute that later, but you can definitely keep an eye out for that. But those are three resources that I think are very helpful that could help you in your social media journey. And the last thing that's really interesting about Instagram, and I think is a really important tip, is to be diverse in your content. Yes, there's like very nice looking things on there, but you'll often see people posting like even stuff from their TikTok accounts on there. And there's just like all kinds of sort of content that you can find on Instagram. Shanti, Shanti, of course, will be getting into TikTok later, but just be diverse in your content. It keeps things very interesting. An example is like memes. I find memes everywhere, even across organizations like these. If you haven't heard what memes are, it's a very like a trendy form of media that really appeals to youth. So I see a lot of organizations use these a lot because it's trendy. And essentially what it is, it's a form of media, whether it's like a video or an image, but it's essentially pop culture. You'll find like an image of like some famous TV show and just a large caption on it. And the ultimate goal of memes is that it's supposed to be like relatable and funny. So I highly suggest looking into that. Memes are really funny and a great way to get engagement. And you're able to adapt that to different contexts, right? So in terms of engagement tips, so those sort of
Julie,
cover.
just a second. Irina has a question. I believe she had her hand up, and Anna also as well.
Oh,
I wanted
yeah.
to answer those first. So
Okay.
Irina, you can
Okay.
go.
All
So,
right.
so, so Jules,
Yes.
it's very interesting because I don't have an Instagram account. So when you're explaining this to me, I'm sort of trying to imagine a country that I've never gone to before. Um, but is it similar to like Facebook where you're posting things about yourself?
So yeah, no, I totally understand where you're coming from. This all seems like a lot, like what even are these things? But yeah, Canva, Pixels, and Pixabay are essentially platforms that people use for their social media. So, for example, Canva is really like a video editing, photo editing service that is sort of like the one thing that I hear a lot of organizations use for their social media, and that's one of its main points is for organizations to make their social media content in there. Just briefly on Canva, you'll find a lot of stock images,
No,
stickers, and just like all those kinds of things. No, yeah,
no,
not
no,
every,
no, no, no.
uh,
I understood everything that you said about those three things. I'm talking about Instagram itself. Like,
right,
why would I want an Instagram account? Why would I want one?
right. So, if you don't mind me asking, is there like a particular organization that you're affiliated with, or
So, like, every organization that I'm affiliated to has Facebook accounts.
right?
So, because I've already got Facebook, why would I want to go to Instagram? Why would I want to add that as another layer in on an already very busy day to bother with?
No, that is a very valid question. And Facebook is another thing I'm going to be talking about as well. But essentially, just to address it now, Facebook, yes, is a very important social media platform because it actually has the most amount of users. And statistically, it's a very significant social media platform for marketing and commercial organizations and such. But the reason why you might want to include Instagram in that sort of roster is because although Facebook has a lot of users, it does have a smaller demographic and such that it's mostly older people on that platform. So if your goal, and this comes back to the idea of considering your options, who's your target audience? If one of your goals is to appeal to youth and get youth engagement, Instagram is one of the best ways to do it. And Instagrams is also one of the best ways to hit multiple hits at once because Instagram has a wide demographic also. So you'll find people as young as 14 years old to people who are way in the older category. So you'll be targeting a lot of people on Instagram. Whereas there's a lot of users on Facebook, but it's a smaller demographic. And anecdotally, there aren't a lot of young people on there. So that is, I would say, the biggest point why or a lot of organizations turn to Instagram, which I will probably delve into more a little later, but hopefully that addresses your question.
Mm.
Do I understand with Instagram you can easily share it on multiple platforms as well? Like if you have an Instagram account, you can share that video post on Facebook as well.
Yeah, no, 100%.
So it's transferable. So once you create whatever media you want, which would be like video or even like more illustrative type stuff, even a collage kind of thing with music, you can take that, put it on Instagram, and then you can share it over multiple platforms.
Yeah,
So
no, you're
you're not only targeting the 18 to 24 demographic, you can also take that and move it to another demographic. Mind you, you might want your messaging to be different on different platforms. I don't know.
yeah, no, that's 100% correct. So you're so right. Because both Instagram and Facebook are part of that meta universe, there are ways to coordinate your posts, which makes sense because for a lot of organizations, which was a good point that Arena made, if you ever do decide to go into Canva, make a post, you can just post it to both your social media accounts. But going into that later, we are going to address sort of the differences between social media platforms. And so some content may do better on one or the other. And there are different sort of things you can do on different social media platforms for engagement. But ultimately, yes, that is like very effective, a very effective use of your time, and it's really helpful for organizations like us. So that's definitely something to look into. There are various ways to do that, But one way to coordinate your account is if you go into your Facebook account and go into your settings, you can connect your Instagram and Facebook account and therefore coordinate your posts. So whenever you post to Facebook, that can also be posted to Instagram at the same time. And it makes use of your time if you ever, spend time in Canva making a cute little post that can go on Facebook as well. So those are all very valid points, 100%. If there are any more questions.
And I was also wondering if Canva, Pexels, and Pixabay are free or if you have to pay for them.
Right. Okay. That's a very valid question. So Canva, Pexels, and Pixabay are all free. Now, Canva does have a pro subscription, which of course, like many other platforms, gives you more access to tools and elements that could really elevate your social media platform. They're not necessary. Like, I don't think you have to use those. So Canva at its core is free, and there's a lot that you can get from Canva from its free subscription. Pexels and Pixabay are also free. That is why I use them. It's just stock footage and such. Canva also does have stock footage and stock music, but I would, just a tip, probably stay away from that if you do decide to make a piece that is commercial, just because not everything on Canva is commercially licensed. Whereas Pixels and Pixabay, you wouldn't have to worry about that too much. So that's why I do use Pixels and Pixabay, even though you have access to Canva. Yeah, but you can all use at least at any level their services for free. So these are all very great resources. So just moving on to sort of the engagement tips, we sort of covered what kind of content tends to do well on Instagram, just very visual, creative stuff that does really well. But in terms of engagement tips, these are really going to help with your reach on social media. So the first thing is hashtags and topics. So whenever you make a post on Instagram, a good idea that a lot of organizations and other, marketing tips are hashtags, in which when you make a post and you have your caption, at the end of your caption, you include hashtags such as, and just to, for example, on poly environment, these are very common hashtags that are used within the environmental advocacy space. On poly just means Ontario politics. And what that serves a purpose on Instagram is that Instagram, the way hashtags work is if you ever look up a certain hashtag, all those posts regarding that included that hashtag, you can see all of those posts in one space. So essentially, tagging hashtags onto your posts and captions will increase your reach, that anyone looking into that topic would possibly see your post. Another thing is topics. So when you are making a post and you're looking at all the settings right before you post it, one thing that you may find is this little bar here that says topics. Topics, kind of similar to hashtags, is another way to increase engagement and increase your reach. If you attach particular topics to your post, it will be advertised as part of that topic to other people who may not follow your account. So hashtags and topics are just really great ways to sort of attach your post to a particular topic, and increases the amount of people who see them, who are looking at or interested in said subject or topic. So ultimately, as it says here, it comes down to who do you want to see your post. And just, I've even seen people on Instagram even hashtag and tag people of what you would say of the opposing sort of, I don't know how to say opposing sort of, or like people you wouldn't expect to be interested in your content, but they tag them anyway because, they think it's something important for them to look at. So the hashtags and topics are a very important thing to keep in mind. And also on Instagram, there's a lot, like I said, is very diverse in the applications that you can do. So for one thing, there are stories, which I'm sure you guys probably heard of, which are these like short form bits rather than a post. Stories are temporary. You post them onto your story, people can see them, and it goes away after 24 hours unless you store it in what is called a highlight. So highlights are another great thing on Instagram. So there's sort of like these small, you can kind of think of them as folders. So highlights on Instagram are sort of like these folders on your profile, where if you wanted to store a particular story that you made, even though they go after 24 hours, and they like disappear, you can store that in a highlight so people can see it at any time, so they don't disappear. And you can store as many stories as you want into this one folder called a highlight, and you can have multiple highlights. And each highlight has a particular topic on it. So for example, just to throw an example out there, I may want to have a highlight on all the particular greenbelt content that I've made. So I can store all those stories relating to the, greenbelt that I've made onto that highlight. And the reason why it has such powerful implications is because if anyone who decides to follow your account and hasn't been following you for so long, looking into an highlight, they can instantly see your perspective and your views and learn about something right then and there, just scrolling through your highlight. So highlights are another interesting application on Instagram that is worth looking into. There are also interactive story elements, just a lot of things you can do on Instagram. Not something I took part in too much for engagement though, but it's always an option if you guys want to do it. Essentially, when you post a story, that short form bit, interactive story elements are things that your users would be able to interact with in that story. So for example, if you wanted to host a poll, if you generally wanted your followers sort of idea on a particular subject or such, you can host a poll. What do you think? And they can vote, and you'd get those results. 50% think this, 50% think that. And there's just other such interactive story elements on there. You can even have your followers ask you questions directly through a story. So those are definitely things that are worth looking into for engagement. The other engagement tip that a lot of like marketing and organizations use is boosting. This is not necessary though. I do want to make that clear. I never did boosting, but boosting is essentially making your post into an ad. You pay money, and boosting, what it does is increases the reach it has on your target demographic. So essentially it is an ad. I didn't really do that though. It does cost money, so not necessary if you don't want to. And another tip, which is, I wouldn't say just applies to Instagram, but also to social media in general, is taking advantage of moments of traction. So you can be smart with when you post particular things. And an example would be, the AG report that recently came out. It caused a large uproar, and it was something that really went trending on social media. It's really important to make use of moments like that, because once again, that increases your reach. It reaches a lot of people when their attention is on a particular subject. And once again, at the end of the day, the goal is to increase your reach and reach more people. So take advantage of moments of traction and try to reach the most people you can. And lastly is experiment. If you do have a business account on Instagram, you can look at certain logistics on your account, and you can sort of gauge for yourself. It's a learning process with social media, and you can sort of gauge for yourself what your followers do like and what content they don't like. For example, if you wanted to post something and see how well it did, you can look at the logistics and see how many people watched it, how many people watched the reel full and through. So like maybe you have certain views, but maybe like only 4% of your viewers actually watched the entire reel. You can say, oh, maybe they weren't as interested in this particular piece of content. And a lot of those can sort of inform you in your future endeavors and what social media content you can post in the future. So yeah, Instagram is very like dense, a lot of applications. So I kind of went on a tangent on that. The other social media applications aren't so much or overwhelming. I'm sure this is a little overwhelming, but Instagram is probably the most dynamic and diverse. So it's definitely something I'd suggest looking into, especially if youth engagement is one of your main target demographics. But I know this is a lot, so I do want to go over some quick examples. So this is just an example of one of the posts that you can make from Canva. So Canva has all these individual elements, and you can throw them together, and it's very user-friendly and it's very quick because other Canva users make templates that you can easily use at your disposal and throw a quick post together like this. So this is an example of one of the things that can come out of Canva and what you would call a nice visually aesthetic post. But more looking into the reels, like I said, reels are a very important piece of engagement if Instagram is an endeavor that you want to go into. These are just some examples of some of the content that I posted on the SCGC account that I did during my time here. And there are some important points that I want to make here. So I'll show you this real quickly, just sort of give you an idea what it is, and I'll expand on it a little later. But this is regarding the recent AG report. Okay, so just to stop it there, that is one of the content that you will often find on social media that has a lot of reach and is really good for engagement. So I like to call these attention grabbing short forms. So this is like a reel, and this is also known as an edit because you're throwing a bunch of visual elements together through video editing. So this is attention grabbing short form. This is the best way to make use of attraction and get information out there quickly and reach the most people. And an important point I want to make here is framing and storytelling. So coming back to the point that facts need good storytelling, if you look at the reel, basically all I was doing was displaying statistics. No matter how you display that, the statistics don't change. It's the same information. But framing is very important if you want to reach people because it creates an impact. So I could have just, just shared statistics. Here are the statistics. Look at these, they're important. But when you sort of share it that way, even though they are important statistics, it doesn't make it seem like it. And people end up not being interested. And so that's why it's very important to share information in an interesting way that makes it seem important for people. And so if you saw in that reel, what we did here is we placed emphasis and the significance of the statistics on the people, because that's essentially what we're doing. What we do is for the people and we want to empower the people. And so that sort of framing and that unique framing is what gets people really interested. And music is a very important factor to that as well. Probably thinking, why is music so important? But depending on your choice of music, it can really emote like feelings of empowerment or urgency. And those sort of hit and miss kind of elements really do a lot in terms of engagement, especially since people are only on social media for like not that long. So attention grabbing short forms are really, really useful in Instagram. Obviously reels take more and edits take more time, but if there's ever something that you think is worth the investment, that is a form of content that I suggest looking into. And this is another like form of content that, aside from like the attention grabbing short form, I like to call these informative long forms. So this is another piece of content that we posted on the account. I chopped it off because I don't want to show you the entire thing because it's like 4 minutes long, but just to give you a glimpse, this is sort of what it entailed.
How much is it going to cost? Which, like, that is just a basic conversation we have.
So Inform, this was a forum that my boss did, and it was a lot of dense, informative content that may not be as flashy or attention grabbing. And the main point here is, what is the goal? So although we want to reach the most people, the goal may not always be to get the most likes or to get the engagement. And it's sort of kind of picking and choosing your battle. Is your goal to reach the most people and get a message quickly out there? Or maybe for your sort of long form informative shorts, they may not reach as many people, but it's worthwhile information that you think at least the very few, very engaged people would appreciate. So at the end of the day, it's just getting any and all information that you want to get out there in any way possible. And we have a lot of these sort of forms of long form content on the Instagram account as well. So that was very dense. Our other ones aren't as dense because there isn't as much, but Shanti, I'll let you take the floor with Twitter.
Yes. So Twitter is another popular platform. I'm sure many of you have heard of it as well. It recently got bought out by a different company. So its new name is also X, but people are still mostly calling it Twitter. It's been around for a long time. And so you can recognize both icons that way. The target audience for Twitter is about 20 years old to 40 years old. I would say that's the bulk, but again, just like Instagram or really any other platform, there's people as young as 15 all the way up to however old people want to be on Twitter. And so I like when people ask me about Twitter, I like to describe it as a modern day newspaper. So can you post images on Twitter? Yes. Is that what people are looking for on Twitter? I would say no. So Twitter started as a platform that essentially encouraged people to speak their minds in 40 characters or less. So there was really a limit and kind of pressure to really be short and sweet and concise. So you really had to get your message across with not a lot of room to talk. So quick, witty, quick facts, statistics, that's what Twitter was for. Twitter also has the same idea of Instagram where you kind of just scroll through. But Twitter, again, it was mostly just for writing and quick little tidbits of information. And that is why people would call it the modern day newspaper. The character limit of Twitter has increased and people are posting more images on there. However, Twitter to its core is more of just a writing platform. Twitter uses something called threads, and essentially its goal is to encourage people to connect and voice their opinion. And so Twitter really focuses on conversation between creators. If you wanted to ask a quick question, it really encourages that kind of back and forthness, whereas Instagram, it is sort of one person posting. Yes, you can comment on Instagram and people really do, but I would say Twitter is where conversations are kind of open and anyone can join in. Some tips for Twitter would be asking questions. You have the chance to follow people that you like, people that you don't like. You can really follow anyone, and it's very easy to reply to their tweets, as they're called. And you can ask questions, spark conversations. Really, that's what Twitter's for. Similar to how Julie talked about hashtag, Twitter uses them as well. The cool thing about hashtag is that you can just click on one and anything that has ever been used with that hashtag will come up. So if you love chicken Alfredo, you can use that hashtag on Twitter and you will find 1,000,001 recipes and things to do with chicken Alfredo. And so that's why it's really popular to know what hashtags people are using. So Julie highlighted them like on poly, environment, advocacy, youth. You can highlight Barry, Simcoe, and that kind of helps to narrow down your audience. So it's reaching the right people. Similar to Instagram, being authentic is also really important, especially for youth. I feel like we come from a group that has grown up on social media, and we can kind of tell when people are on social media just trying to sell us something, or they kind of have like a specific end goal in mind. And maybe for like quick short-term rewards that works, but if you want to build a long-term following, it's really important to just be yourself, speak the way you normally would. Don't try to be someone else, because people can often read into that and then they're not really going to want to follow you. So that's talking from a brand perspective. From just a user-friendly perspective, Twitter makes it really easy to follow people, connect with other profiles, and input your own voice. You are able to mention other profiles, again, the use of hashtags, and you can add pictures as well. But it's really user-friendly. Sometimes I just scroll through Twitter quickly. I follow local places in Barrie, my favorite stores in Barrie, and I'm able to see if they're having like a quick sale, or if their hours change, or if the roads close. I know when I was in university, if the school closed down, like they would post all of that like quick tidbit information on Twitter. And so I would say that is the gist of Twitter, and we can move on to the next one unless someone has a question about Twitter.
Why was it so popular with Trump?
Trump,
Yeah.
you can, no matter your politics, you can definitely say that Trump used Twitter effectively because he would never tweet like paragraphs of stuff, but he knew how to make quick, witty remarks and little tidbits that got people talking. It created a lot of conversations on Twitter. He posted it in real time. So as things were happening in society or in politics, like probably 5 minutes later, Trump had a tweet about it and people were responding. And then people, whether you hated him or loved him, people were connecting with him, which made his tweets reach more people. So if you are getting a lot of likes or a lot of shares on your tweets, they're showing up on more people's profiles. And that's what
So
Trump
here's
did.
so here's a question. I'm
Yeah.
thinking like, how in the world does the president of the United States actually have time to be on Twitter or any of these social accounts? Do you think that he has one person that his Twitter person and another person that's his Facebook person, another person that's Instagram person? Do you actually think that he did that physically himself?
I personally do. I
Mhm.
know all the presidents of or prime ministers, they do have like a very professional looking Instagram. I do think they have like social media management. I know a lot of the talk around Trump and his Twitter was that it was actually him because again, he was very authentic on there. It was himself. And a lot of the times people would be surprised that Trump would be tweeting this. And that's because he could easily access it from his phone, tweet 40 characters or less, and just put it out there. He didn't have to get it approved by anyone. So
He's the
I would
president.
say Twitter is where Trump was the most free on. There wasn't a lot of constraint against him, but that is also why he got into a little bit of hot water on there. So Trump on Twitter, yeah, I believe those were his tweets for sure. Because it's so easy.
Yeah.
How quick can you type a sentence on your phone? iPhones, we all have them, 5 minutes or less, you can share something to millions of people.
Yeah, overall, I think the bottom line, Twitter is just a very good platform for open and honest conversation. That's probably its main selling point. So that was a great job on Twitter. So moving on to Facebook. So this is sort of touched on this a little earlier as well. But yes, the dominant age group for Facebook is 25 to 34 years old, but also keep in mind like older populations as well. Now, in the case of statistics and the way that they sort of divided the age groups, 25 to 34 years old, just for the sake of statistics, I'm sure they divided it that way. But anecdotally, for my personal opinion, I would even argue it's more of the 34-year-old end than it is the 25. I'm sure there are 25 years olds on Facebooks, but sort of anecdotally, I have like my brother who's in that age group or near that age group. I have a lot of people I know. Generally, they don't use Facebook. And even if they do have a Facebook account, like they're not on it. So generally, that's why Facebook, people do look to other options aside from Facebook. Facebook is a great way to target a lot of people. And this is not to undermine Facebook because it is like the most used platform and it does reach a lot of people. And in terms of the meta universe, it's the one that brings the most revenue, like in terms of marketing. So Facebook is a really big platform, but in terms of the demographic, you are targeting a specific demographic, which is older people. So it's a smaller demographic than Instagram because there's a smaller age group that you're targeting. But
Anna, don't you love it how they say 34 is the older demographic?
So the seniors are landlines. That's our mode of social
I meant to
media.
include the older people as well. I'm older than 34 years. I don't think 34 years old is old. But yeah, no, you probably won't be seeing 14-year-olds on Facebook. Weirdly enough, I probably was one of those kids, but back in the day, I was like a young kid on Facebook. So, but no, yeah, older, not old. But you're definitely targeting an older demographic. You're not really going to see a lot of 14-year-olds on there. For that reason, this is a really important to make. But when managing sort of Facebook account, I did that sort of cross sort of thing where what I would post to Instagram, I would also post to Facebook. And just from my experience, the flashy content and the reels that I made, sort of like the one that I showed you, does actually not fare well in terms of engagement on Facebook. So it kind of tells you a lot about Facebook and the demographic you're targeting. You really don't need to put in that excess time of curating something really flashy and attention grabbing, because Facebook is really, the people take the content for what it is and they'll just appreciate the content for what it is. So flashy content and aesthetics are not necessary, though. If you like create a Canva post and like cross post it to Facebook, it's going to be appreciated. It's going to be a great post, but don't, you don't feel like you have to have the burden of doing so much, right? And even on Instagram too, not even just Facebook, not every post has to be an attention grabber. Not every post has to be a masterpiece, but those are just ideas, of course, if you ever wanted to do those kind of content. This is also not to say, although flashy content may not be the way to go on Facebook, videos still do well on this platform. It's just the creative editing is not necessary. If you really just wanted to stand up, make a video, share your honest opinion about a subject, it's going to do well. Because as I said, people are going to take the content for what it is. And if people agree with you and the points you make, like, creative editing is not necessary. Another great thing about Facebook is it's very shareable. It's a great way to just share content out there. And I know a lot of organizations, it was a great way to just share particular news articles and such, to get people like talking and such. Obviously, that's a little complicated now with Bill C-18, but if there is other content that your organization engages in, or you have sort of your own platform for articles, you can easily just share those. And that's just a great way of just sharing your other content and just sharing other things. It's just very shareable. So sort of the main point, just a really easy way to get info out there. So some engagement tips is, I'm sure you guys probably, some of you already know about this already, is Facebook events. So Facebook has a really unique feature where you can quite literally formally set up an event and share it with your followers, and your followers can respond. They're coming, or they're at least interested. And it, first of all, at least gives you a gauge on the engagement that you can sort of expect from certain events that you're holding. But when your followers engage and they say, like, I'm going to this event, those followers, friends, and other people that they're following, they'll see those as well. So once again, it's reaching more people, the more engagement that you get. So Facebook events is, once again, very shareable and is another way to reach other people. Yeah, did you have a question, Irene?
I do. One of the biggest problems with Facebook, and I don't know if this is true of the other social media platforms, are fake accounts.
Oh, yeah, no, 100%. You get those on Instagram too. They're called bots. Um, Not great. I haven't looked too much into those, but yes, they're essentially fake accounts, and I've seen some of them on my post before. I don't know, Shanti, if you have any good understanding of those. I just know that they're there. I don't really know what kind of goes on with those things, but
Yeah, so essentially bots, like they're just fake accounts basically that people create trying to get you to do certain things. The good thing about Instagram when it comes to bots is that it's very easy to tell who is a bot, because if you get a message from someone, you click on their profile and they have, let's say, 2 followers, or there's things maybe that like they're from like the other side of the world, you can kind of tell a fishy profile. Whereas Facebook, it's really easy to create a fake profile. You can put a picture, it looks good. If they're private and nothing comes up, you're like, oh, they're just private. Whereas Instagram, even if they're private, you can still see how many posts they have made. You won't see the content, but you can see if this person has maybe 1 post, not a lot of followers. You can kind of suss it out yourself. So that's, like, I would say, another difference between Facebook and Instagram. And it's also really easy to remove comments as well on Instagram or Facebook. You can just delete them if they're bots. And then if, for example, SCGC, we have gotten messages from bots before, and I'm kind of the one that clears them out on the Instagram. And I can block that person and block any other accounts that they will make in the future as well. So Instagram does a really good job of kind of fishing them out and combing them through. But yeah, that's just something that comes with social media, I think.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, it is what it is. I've encountered my fair share of them as well. But yeah, just to get back, continue. Once again, just take advantage of moments of traction, like the same point before, and boosting. Boosting is something you can also do in your Facebook. Same idea. It's essentially making a personalized ad and reaching more of your target demographic, but it does cost money. But those are just other things. Facebook also, of course, has stories and lives, all the same as Instagram does. Just sort of a different environment still. So we're gonna head into the last one. Shanti, take it away. This is very interesting.
Yeah, so I'm sure some of you have heard of TikTok. It has been the latest craze lately. TikTok, essentially, the main demographic is 15, sometimes even younger, to 35-year-olds. But my uncle's on TikTok, he loves it. So TikTok really is for anyone. The content on TikTok, it's short and quick. That's kind of the principle of TikTok, where it differs from Twitter in the sense that it is visual focused. Like you have to post a video of some kind. So you can find all kinds of things on TikTok. So there's like dances, like trending dances, tutorials, projects, kind of lifestyle videos where it's someone just talking to the camera, telling a story about their day. It has become a place where a lot of people get their information. Something that's really important to know about TikTok is that it has something called a For You page. So you can follow certain creators or people that you like on TikTok, but it also has a page where it's dedicated based off of things you like. So for example, I will like a cooking video, and more cooking videos will come up. Or if they see that I get a video about sports and right away I click out of it, like I scroll on to the next one, they probably won't send me more sports videos after that. Or if I comment on a video about home decor, then on my For You page, more videos about home decor will start to come up. So the great thing about Twitter is that it really does feel like it's catered to you. I would say the first few weeks that you have, that you have TikTok, it's kind of just they're giving you everything. When you sign up, it asks you a few questions about the kind of things you like. But basically, until TikTok gets to know you a little bit, they're giving you the good, the bad, and the ugly that's on there. And then you kind of curate it based on what you like, what you comment on, what you share, who you follow. And so it comes to the point where I don't know if this is scary or not, but it feels like TikTok is reading your mind because you're like, wow, like this is exactly what I was thinking about, or it's exactly what I want to see. If you are choosing to post on TikTok, I would again keep it very short and sweet. You are able to post up to 3-minute videos on TikTok, but unless it's kind of a storytelling video where you're really engaging, people will not watch the whole thing. So you really have to capture their attention in like that 5-second frame and then post. You can also, from a user perspective, you can also have TikTok and not post any videos ever. So it's not, you don't have to post to be able to engage on it, which is really nice. If you are posting though, being authentic, that whole authenticity piece that we talked about is really important. Aesthetic videos also do really well. So if you're making videos on TikTok, a clean area, soft music, or even trending music does really well. The really cool thing about TikTok as well is that a lot of organizations have gone on there as well to kind of show you behind the scenes of their brand. So some of your favorite products, you can see like how they're made or what a typical day in the life of the small business owner is like, or a lot of videos that they're called like watch me like pack an order, and you can see like your order being made, being the label being made, them packing it, shipping it, and then obviously you receive it. So it's done a really good job of kind of giving you the behind the scenes of local businesses, and it's really given people a platform to share anything they like. And the cool thing about TikTok is that if you want to go viral, it can really happen to anyone. So you don't have to be a celebrity with millions of followers. Like I posted a video of something that I ordered online once and it got 30,000 views. And all of a sudden I started having like comments and people following me, and I was like, oh my gosh, this was just a silly video I posted showing this cool thing that I got in the mail, and people really liked it, and I didn't have that many followers at the time. So that's the cool thing about TikTok, is that if you just post consistently and people like what they see, you really never know what video is going to do well. If you find the fun and the joy in it, sometimes people like videos of people, I'm trying to think what's like really popular lately, like makeup destroying videos. Like there's a lot of creators that they'll have like makeup and they'll like squeeze the stuff out of the tube, just silly little things, and they have millions of views and likes. So that's the fun thing about TikTok, is that it can be a little effortless sometimes. And so if you're an organization, you can just post and people will like what they like. I also wanted to mention, because Julie mentioned Canva. So this presentation was also made on Canva, for example. So that's another thing that you can do on there. And one of the cool things that we were also assigned to do this summer is make a video about Canva. I am Canva's probably #1 fan. I use it for absolutely everything. I'm in teachers college and I use it for all my lesson plans. You can use it for so much. And so we're actually posting a video about using Canva specifically. So if you're interested in Canva, I would highly recommend. You can make invitations like for weddings, you can make signs, you can make posters, you can make presentations like business products, you can make all kinds of things. So if you're interested in that, that's also a good video to watch as well. But yeah, TikTok, it's very fun. It's the new thing.
So with TikTok, Shanti,
Yeah.
are there any places, parameters that you can put in there so that kids can watch TikTok without being worried about what they're watching?
So I know that that has definitely been an issue at times. So I would say if you have a child on TikTok, I'm not necessarily sure if there are parental control limits, but again, if that child is the sole user of that account, what they watch is what is gonna come up on their page. So at the beginning, I would recommend, like, my niece is 10 and she has a TikTok account, but it's open to her parents. They have it on like the family iPad. And it is monitored by her mom, and she sees like if she likes, or she's not allowed to post. If your kids also want to post on TikTok, you have an option where it's not public, it's only to people that you follow. So for example, if you have a page and you just want to post like for your family, you can do that as well. So it won't allow them to be susceptible to every single user on TikTok. In terms of actual parental controls to monitor or kind of guide what comes up, I'm not sure about that part. Yeah.
But yeah, another interesting point of TikTok that I would say is part of its attractiveness is that you can quite directly respond to others people's content, right? So if you saw somebody like post a TikTok and you had particular thoughts about it, you can quite literally make a TikTok responding to that TikTok, and that person's TikTok being your TikTok is a whole TikTok inception. But the main point is you can quite directly respond to others people's content as part of your content. So there's a lot of engagement and also room for open and honest conversation on that platform as well. So yeah, just to conclude, that is everything today. We have Q&A at the end as well. If you guys have any remaining questions, of course, we answer some of those as ready throughout the presentation also. The main points would be Instagram does include young people, very wide demographic, I think is a really great platform, very dynamic and diverse, a lot of applications. The next one will be Twitter, just a really good platform for real and open conversation, just straight as it is. Facebook, no need for flashiness, content take it as it is, very good for events and such, especially because these people, your followers, are going to be the people that are showing up to your forums and everything. So that's another good thing to look into. And TikTok, I should say, is the young platform. It does have a wide demographic. As you see, there's like, as Shanti said, there are 35-year-olds and older, her uncle's on it, but it has taken the crown from Instagram it is the TikTok that a lot of youth use. The youth are absolutely obsessed with it. So that is another great platform if you really want to reach some young people. So yeah, if you guys have any remaining questions, feel free to stay and answer any more. But thank you so much for your time. Hopefully we were able to share something, at least one thing that was useful, and hopefully it was helpful as well.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm sorry more people didn't come to listen to this.
That's
No, it's
okay.
not a problem.
One more thing about
Oh, I
TikTok.
have one last question to ask you.
Yes, of course.
Go ahead.
So I am besides Simcoe County Greenbelt Coalition, I belong to another group that's here in Oro Medonte, and we only use Facebook. We use Facebook and we do an e-blast email. And we would love to get young people involved, but none of us know anything about Instagram or Twitter or anything like that. How do we reach out to try to get young people to volunteer? And it has to be a volunteer because we're all volunteers to engage and provide those kind of skills.
Yeah, so that's sort of what Shanti and I have been sort of working on our independent project. Unfortunately, I agree. I wish like we could reach more youth people. That is like an ongoing thing that we try to spend our attention on. And especially after COVID, I think from a personal perspective, I really had that sort of community aspect as part of my childhood. And an ongoing sort of concern I've heard from teachers as I do stay connected with some of my teachers from high school is that after COVID, a lot of those young kids kind of lost that aspect of sort of community engagement and that sort of need for social development. So I really do think they're missing that piece, and that's something we can really work on and just really expose these children to just really these great things that you can do out there in the community. So one thing is their schools, right? And especially high school, kids can get really engaged in their student councils. So if you target their student councils, being on having been a student on student council as well, they're very focused on student engagement and getting kids involved. So if you wanted to target youth, I think student councils are a great point of contact as well, which is sort of what Shanti and I will be doing probably in this week. But yeah, no, definitely, I think youth engagement would be absolutely amazing. And community hours is sort of an incentive for these students. Like in high school, they want to get those community hours out of the way. I think it was 40 community hours, was
Yeah,
it?
40 community hours.
Yeah,
It is, although I told my kids it was 40 hours a year and they didn't catch on until grade 12.
That's very smart.
That's hilarious.
I love
I
it.
actually graduated, I think I got the award for the most volunteer hours, but I think I had like 1,600.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
See, that's why I knew that you guys are going to do well in life.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah. If I could leave you with anything, I would say don't be scared of TikTok. Make an account. You don't have to like post your face if you don't want to.
I have an Instagram account, but I haven't used it.
Look at you, Anna. That's
yeah,
great.
My moniker is Scout on Patrol.
Okay. Yeah, you just honestly, for all the platforms, have fun with it. Irina, even if you guys wanted to start an Instagram for the other group you're a part of, it's not, if you make a bad post, like if it's not the most beautiful post, it's not the end of the world. Or if you make a bad TikTok or if you make a bad tweet, it's not the end of the world. You can see a lot of businesses when they first started, their posts, their profile, it didn't look the best. And as they go on, it improves. You learn more things. I'm still learning on Instagram and I use it every day. So don't be afraid to just post, see the kind of reception you get. If you don't like something, you can delete it. As long as obviously you're not posting anything harmful, like nothing bad can really happen. And so I feel like with a lot of people sometimes they're scared to get on social media or especially TikTok because yeah, they think it's for the younger generation, but it's honestly for everyone. Like whenever I plan trips, I would just like search in the hashtag like things to do in Montreal or best places to eat in Barrie, and tons of things come up. And like my uncle, he used it for a lot of projects.
But Shanti, you would get that if you Google it. So what's the benefit of doing it via TikTok rather than just doing a Google search?
Because the TikTok, it's like quick, easy videos and they all come up and I can see the actual, instead of saying best places to eat in Barrie and I get 10 recommendations on TripAdvisor, I get videos of people that have actually been to the restaurants. They're showing me the plate on their table. They're telling me what it was like, and I can get it a lot faster. In this day and age of go, 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 everyone just wants things like quick.
TikTok is essentially just a platform of short form videos and reels, just all like you get to see everything for yourself. So I think TikTok's a really great platform as well.
Like my cousin, for example, she's going to McMaster in the fall and she looked up McMaster dorms on TikTok and she is seeing real students post what their room looks like, what the cafeteria food is like. Whereas if she looked it up, she would find maybe like a stock image of like a very empty dorm room. So it's kind of like that personal level as well. Like she's seeing exactly a student her age, maybe last year, filming their room and what the welcome week events are like. And so it's a more personal platform as well, I think.
Okay, I just downloaded the TikTok app.
Yes, Irina, that's awesome.
It's a start. I'll take a look at it again.
Just search up. I would honestly start by just searching up things you like if you like DIY projects or crafting or traveling in Ontario, and you'll be amazed, really.
Yeah, and share those TikToks to your Instagram account. People are always like cross-sharing as well. I've seen tons of TikToks on Instagrams as
Yeah,
well.
or Facebook as well.
A lot of cross-sharing, just a lot of things you can coordinate with all your platforms.
But I'm hesitant. I won't do Twitter because I can't stand Trump and I can't stand Musk.
That's
so
fair. Yeah,
going there.
Side away from that platform with everything that's going on. So that's a fair point. No, we definitely understand that. I don't even personally use Twitter. So
but thank you guys so much for coming.
Thank you for doing this.
Irina, if you ever need more tips on TikTok, just let me know.
It's been very informative. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jules and Shanti.
Have a good evening.
You too. Bye-bye.